So I was told the ISS was going over my house tonight. And I whipped out the camera and, well, first I looked at the software to see where it was going to appear. And according to all the charts, it was going to come up around Big Dipper. So I know where that is. So got outside, pointed my camera in that general direction and thought, how am I going to find this thing? And super bright, fast-moving object moving toward me all of a sudden from that area. So I started trying to film it. And this is what I got. It's nothing to write home about. It's blurry. It's out of focus, but that's it. I mean, it was where it was supposed to be, moving the direction it was supposed to move. And there was no sound. I had seen other jets go over earlier, so I knew it wasn't that. And sorry if this is making you seasick, but eventually it will kind of, toward the 25 seconds mark or so, it's going to get a little bit clear. There you can almost kind of see it, sort of. And so that was around 27 seconds, and I took a screen capture of that. I'll show you in a minute. But one thing I thought was curious was that as it went out of sight, it turned reddish. So there you can see that a little bit. I don't know how well that's coming across on the screen, but not sure why it would be reddish. Anyway, that's all the video I got, and I suppose I could slow it down, but you can always play this at slow speed later. So let me get my still shot. It's just easier to record this way because my other recording software isn't all that reliable. I don't know what settings I have to change, but anyway, this is a couple of different shots I put into one from the video, and they have some consistencies even from the different frames, and it's got kind of swirly things around it. I don't know, both of them, you can see it a little bit. Let me blow that up some. Won't make it any clearer, but anyway, it has some kind of a consistent shape to it that wasn't, just blur. You can see it also has a little kind of a notch on this side. Some kind of protrusions here, here, and here. And a little bump on this side. So it wasn't just what stars do. I mean, I've watched stars enough that they will morph all over the place, and you do have to keep it in focus. I showed on an earlier video once that the watery look of stars is definitely a focus problem. Other people have shown that before too, that it's really not, that's not how stars look. If you focus, before, if it's a focus too short, and then you get a nice sharp image, and then you keep extending and the focus after that, and it's blurs on either side of that point, well, that point in the middle is really where it's in focus. And stars will be just a little white, bright blob that keeps changing shape and flashing blue and red. This didn't do that. So as hard as it was to track, I did have it on a tripod, but I don't have an automatic tracker, and it was very hard to keep in the frame because it went almost directly overhead. It was like 88 degrees above horizontal, so really hard to track something going fast over your head. It was very fast. I only had maybe a minute and a half to really see this thing, and supposedly I think Sunday or Monday night it's going to go over at a little less of an angle, and hopefully we'll have a clear sky again. I'll be able to get some video, but one thing I know is no automatic setting is going to focus right on this thing. It is really hard to focus and expose properly. And the problem is you can't really practice on, you can't find a setting, because how many chances do you get to look at this thing? So I'm not quite sure if anybody has any advice on using the P900 to set ahead of time for this, because once you find it, you have to keep your eye on it, and you can't be messing with the settings, especially when you're zoomed in that far. It's just going to go right out of the frame. So that was part of the problem. I did not have time to really put it on manual focus And this, I think, is the part where I did get it on manual, but because the non-manual, one of the program settings was just this star-looking thing, the circle, the concentric circles. It's, and it's interesting that it does the same thing. Hey, Daddy. Because that's a focus issue. So when it was directly overhead, I quickly set it to manual and just shot and got video and tried to get something. And this is the best I could do of the ISS. So anyway, that's all I can tell you. It's kind of shaped sort of like that, at least this pass over. And I'm hoping to get another shot of it next time. But we'll see if we have clear skies again. Anyway, I did show a video a second ago. It's real short. Around the 27-second mark is about where I took these shots. And this is just lifted off the video from a screen capture, so it's not very good quality. This is way blown up. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that because I could. And one thing, a couple of things to note. One is it's extremely bright. There's no way it should be that bright. I mean, I've seen enough jets during the day that will, like this, go near the sun, and they have extremely bright reflection. But this is the whole thing reflecting exactly everything the same. Even on an airplane with this, aluminum body, it will have a spot reflection, just one spot. But this thing glows as if glowing from within. Okay, emitting its own light. So, and it was, like I said, very bright, easy to pick out on the, it was in the northwest of our sky and moving straight up from the horizon as anything would, any kind of aircraft. But like I said, the lighting doesn't match what you would expect from something like an aircraft that is going away from the sun. I mean, it was coming from the west, the sun had set already, and so they tell you theoretically that this is only going to be viewable while it still has the sun on it, even though it's set on the ground. As far as we're concerned, it was dark out. There was a little bit of glow around the edges, but so we couldn't, the sun was not up, it was below the horizon, but this supposedly is high enough away from the earth that it would still have the sun on it. But it didn't matter where it was on the sky, and it was moving very quickly. It had the same illumination, very even. And you would not expect, for example, light absorbing things like the solar panels and other various, rods and whatever parts they got hanging all over this thing, that it would be so evenly lit. That's very strange. And it should not have just been one homogeneous glow like that. It was very fast. There was no sound. And like I showed in the video, it got red when it was going off to the east. I did see some other pictures. Let me see if I can find that real quick on Google Images just to compare. And I want from a telescope, not from. Let me just do a screen share on this for a second, just for comparison. I don't know if it's, no, I tore off that tab because I didn't want to have those mixed, so sorry about that. So there's allegedly ISS pictures from telescopes, kind of shaped sort of supposedly like that. There you can see some points of light glowing on the thing. This is supposedly somebody's telescope, Cassiopeia Observatory report. You're telling me an observatory can't do better than that? Well, that's just disappointing, isn't it? Supposedly, though, this is more like what I've seen from alleged amateur pictures. So we have that, and they're telling, like I said, I'll go back to my picture in a second here, but they're trying to tell me that this whole thing with all the little pieces, parts, and different angles and all that is going to glow evenly. Let me see what other images they got here. That's way too sharp. That's more, that's somebody's GIF. There you can see points of it. Maybe somebody would say, well, it's just out of focus. It's because your focusing is bad. So I'm going to shut that off and go back to my little screen cap. And so you tell me, I mean, it's focused enough that you can see a shape. Okay, so I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, commotion here, so I'll probably just shut down the video, the hangout, because that's all I really had to say. And on my Bible stuff, like I said, I did 2 Corinthians earlier today. I'll start Romans on Monday. So, all right. Thanks for coming. Whoops, I didn't have this presenting. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's what I had. So you've seen it before, though, anyway. So, all right. See you later.